Welcome to the course of electronic instrumentation. In the last lecture, we discussed about the sensors and transducers and the various classifications of the transducer, various type of transducer we studied in the last lectures. In today's lecture, we are talking about the next part of the sensors and transducers, that is a strain gauge and photoelectric transducers. So these two transducers are very important for the industrial applications. So before talking about the strain gauge and electric transducers, we are talking about the resistive transducer, because both are the working on the phenomena of resistance changes. So resistive transducers means that the kind of transducer in which the one form of energy is changes, and due to that there another resistance will change. So the resistive transducers are the device, the kind of transducers whose resistance changes due to change of some physical phenomena, right? It may be due to variation of the temperature, it may be due to variation of the pressure, it may be due to variation of light, right? So whenever I am talking about the change in the resistance, so we are talking about this equation, the resistance equation, right? A very common, that is resistance is equal to rho L by A, where rho is our resistivity and L is the length of the conductor and A is the area, right? So due to the resistance changes, the length of the conductor will also change, area of the cross section can also change. Just like if I wanted to find the change in the resistance, either if we change the area of the cross section, either we can change the length of the conductor, or either we can change the resistivity, right? Due to this phenomena we can feel that the resistance is changed, and if the resistance is changed, the correspondingly the physical parameter we can measure, that is directly proportional to the change of length, right? So before I am talking about the strain gauges, I am talking about the resistive transducer, and as I mentioned that due to change in the resistance, so we have 4 different type of resistive transducers are there, that is potentiometer. In the potentiometer we are changing the potential difference, because we are dividing the potentials at a particular distance. So this phenomena we can utilize the voltage division for the voltage division and measuring the resistance, right? And it has basically 2 type, normally linear potentiometer we can see, and the helical type potentiometer we can see. And also another type is a strain gauge, and strain gauge is basically more used for the measurement of the strain or the pressure force. Whenever apply, some resistance will change. And thermistor is used for the measurement of temperature. Whenever the temperature increases or decreases, the resistance of the thermistor will also change, that, right? It is a semiconductor device. So all are made of basically semiconductors. So resistance thermometer, just like we have some certain thermometers, their resistance is also changed, and through that we can measure the physical parameter of temperature, right? So talking about the most, that is a strain gauge is in your course, strain gauge. So strain gauge is a passive transducer, because as I already talked that a passive transducer always take an external energy source to drive their operating principles, operating points, and whenever you see that this convert the mechanical elongation. Mechanical elongations mean that the force applied to on a particular, let's suppose this is our surface, and whenever I'm applied over here, I feel some strain or the tension or stress over here, and due to whatever the stress I feel over here, the resistance of the material is also changes. right? So due to the it may be a compression or it may be a tensile force. So the resistance take place due to the variation of the length, due to the variation of the length and the cross sectional area of the gauge wire. So here we are taking a special kind of a material whose parameter is changes with the change of area or the length, right, whenever the external force is applied. So see here in the history picture, common strain gauges are applied here, and as you see here we have two knots, and whenever the force or pressure is applied over here, this mechanical device will have some elongation, and due to this elongation their internal resistance will change, and that internal resistance we can measure through some bridge circuits, just like with Wheatstone bridge we can use for the measurement of the pressure, right? And whenever I'm talking about how it works, so see here the sensitivity of the gauge is described by its character of gauge factor. So gauge factor is very important because it describes how the strain is very sensitive, and it is defined as a change in resistance per unit change in length, right? So we have let's suppose we have a component, right? Conductor we have, and whenever I try to stretch it into in this direction or in this direction, so what will happen, this diameter, so this is our diameter D, right? So what happens, this diameter will reduces and the length of the conductor is increased, right? So this is called stress. So this stress phenomena, whenever we apply a force, so here we can see that there is some change in the length. Let's suppose previously its length is L, and now its length become L plus some change in length delta L. So total length become L plus delta L after applying some force. Even we can do also compression, and whenever I'm doing a compression, what happens that the length is reduced and the diameter is increased. So what it can be like this. So the diameter is increases, at that point we can change that the total diameter is delta D is added into this, right? So here the gauge factor is defined as the change in the length, and due to this change in length, whatever the changes occur in the resistance, the ratio of the change in resistance upon change, ratio of the change in length. So this is gauge factor, right? So here is R is or in resistance of the conductor, and delta is change of the length, and L is a nominal specimen length, that is unstretched condition, and whenever delta is whenever the stress is applied on the conductors, right? So whenever I'm talking about the strain, so a strain is nothing but it is defined as a ratio of change in length over my complete length. So we have strain is change in length over complete length of the conductor that is applied after a force. And that's why whenever I'm putting this value, so strain is denoted by the sigma. So what happens that the K, the gauge factor becomes the change in length by the over sigma, right? Delta R by R divided by sigma, a strain. Strain is nothing but it is a change in length by L. So the resistance, the change in delta R of the conductor length L is calculated by the expression of this unit, and as you know that just I talking about the resistive transducer. So the resistance is denoted by the rho resistivity into the length by area. So what happens, this area is changes. So area of the conductor is given by 4 by pi by 4 d square and divided by it is length and the rho resistivity. So from this formula we can see that rho is a specific resistance of the conductor material, that is resistivity, and the dl length of the conductor is d is the diameter of the conductor. So when the tension of the conductor causes increase in because of the some stress is applied or the tension is applied onto the device or the transducers, that change length is changes or the diameter is changes, and from this formula, the previous formula, this is L and the diameter in this diagram, whenever the d is increases, the diameter is increases, the length is decreases, right? And while whenever the length is increases, the diameter is decreases. So length and diameter are inversely proportional to each other, right? So from here we can see just like the resistance of the conductor then changes to if I'm applied the total resistance is rho and L plus delta L, because the stress is applied, the length becomes L plus delta L, and this is 4 by pi d minus, because what happens in the diameter, if it is increases it is decreases, right? So that's why d minus d delta d square. So after solving this one, so this is become the rho L 1 plus delta L by L divided by 4 by pi d square 1 minus 2 delta d by d. So we can calculate it in terms of change in length and change in diameter, right? So here we are defining a Poisson ratio. This is a very important point that is always most of the time it is asked in examinations. And what is Poisson ratio? So defined as the ratio of strain of lateral direction to the in the axial direction. So change in the lateral direction, where you saw that in this direction, change in the lateral direction into change in axial direction. So this is mu is equal to delta d by d, the change of the conductor in the lateral direction and in the axial direction. So mu is equal to ratio of change in lateral direction delta d by d, and this is divided by delta L by L, right? So now we are putting this value, the mu, into this equation. Putting this value into this equation, we will get the RS is equal to rho 1 by 4 by pi d square in bracket 1 plus delta L by L 1 minus 2 mu L del by L. So this is not one, okay, right? So which can be simplified after further, because the RS is nothing, that is a change in the resistance, and how much change in the resistance, that is equal to the R 1 plus 2 mu delta L by L whenever I am computing this one. So from here we can see that how we are going to change this value. If we are changing the length or changing the diameter or the area of the cross section, so we can also change in the resistance. This principle is applied to measure the strain or stress of the force and pressure measurement, right? So whenever I'm talking about the Poisson ratio, for the most of the metals it lies between 0 to 0.35, 0.25 to 0.35. For the strain gauge application, high sensitivity is very desirable, because what happened, how we are seeing that whenever the force is applied a very high, right, and there is a change, very small change in the resistance, that's why we require a very highly sensitive device. So large case factors means that the relatively large resistance change which can be easily measured by the small resistance changes, right? So whenever I'm talking, in order to simplify the previous equations, Hooke's law also given an important role, and it gives a relation between the stress and the strain. Hooke's law gives the relation between stress and strain for the linear stress and strain curve in terms of Young modulus, that modulus of elasticity, or you can say that this is Young modulus of the material under the tension, right? So defining the stress is applied force per unit area and the strain as an elongation of the stress member per unit length. The Hooke's law is written as a ratio of stress divided by the Young modulus. E is denoted as a Young modulus. It is a constant, right, for every different materials, right? So S is a stress, that is whose unit is kilogram per centimeter square, right? So we have one problem here. The resistance of the gauge factor is given. If we see that the resistance of the gauge factor, it means that the K is given. K is equal to 2 and is fastened to the steel subjected to the stress of 1050 kilogram per centimeter square. It means that S is also given. We can write it 1050 kilogram, and the Young modulus elasticity of the steel is given as 2.1 into 10 to the power 6, right? That is kg per centimeter square. Per centimeter square. Now we have to calculate the change in the resistance of the strain gauge elemented applied to the stress. Just like we can see in the previous formula, the sigma, that is strain, is equal to the stress by Young modulus. So sigma is equal to stress by Young modulus, and we have given S is given 1050 divided by, this is kilogram per centimeter square, divided by the Young modulus 2.1 into 10 to the power 6. So after computation, putting the values over here, we are getting the 500, right? So sigma we can get of 500 values. So this is our strain. So now what we have to calculate the change in resistance, and as you know the previous formula over here, right, that is K is equal to change in the resistance over my sigma, right? So that formula we can use. K is equal to delta R over my R divided by, this is sigma. So K we have given, sigma we have computed. So now that means that delta R by R is equal to K times sigma, that is equal to 2 into 500, right? So this is equal to 1000. So here you can see that it becomes a 2000. There is a mistake, I made it into this one. Here you can get this, this is 500 into 10 to the power minus 6. So we can also compute this one, 2 into 5 into 10 to the power minus 6, that is equal to 30 0.00000001. So here we can observe that the change in resistance delta R by R is equal to 0.001. Right. So see from here in this example what we can understand that if we applied this much of stress 1050 kilogram per centimeter square, right? So there is this much of force into per centimeter square. If applied, a very small change in the resistance will observe, right? I observe a very small change in resistance. This is why we require a very highly sensitive instrument that will measure the change in resistance. Whenever I'm putting this strain gauge into the Wheatstone bridge, we have to measure some, use some very highly sensitive instrument, right? So we have a different type of strain gauge are available into the market. That is a wire gauge, in which we have just putting a wire that is made of material with various type of material, that is whose property is that they will change the resistance, and it comes under the bounded, unbounded, and the foil type and the semiconductor type also, right? So whenever I'm talking about the bounded strain gauge, this strain gauge consists of a wire stretch, because you can see that here the wire, there is a point is connected, the wire are stretched, and whenever we are moving the elongation of the force applied on this frame, there is a change in this length of the wire, and this change in the length of the wire is corresponding to the force applied. It is calibrated, the force applied into this device. So this is unbounded, because this is why it is called unbounded, because wherever it is applied, it is just a stretch through some pinpoints. It is not fixed or fixed on the surface of any material, right? So it is stretched between 2 points, and an insulating medium such as air. Wire may be made of various copper, nickel, and this is maybe a copper, nickel, chrome nickel, or nickel iron alloy. This is made of these things, right? So now when talking about the bounded, the difference between the unbounded and bounded is only that now the same wire is bounded into the surface of this plate, right? So we can see that this is a kind of chip where the wire is bounded or fixed, and whenever apply some pressure over here, what happens, this strip is like that, it will try to bend it and change in the resistance of the material. So the bounded metal wire strain gauge are used for the both stress analysis. It is used for both stress analysis and the construction of transducers. And the resistance wire strain gauge consists of a grid fine resistance. This grid is cemented to carrier, just like I tell you. It is cemented to the carrier, which may be a thin sheet of the paper, right? Now we have a foil type. The foil type is very similar to the kind of bounded strain gauge, where just they have put in on wire like that, but here what they do that in the same wire they are putting some foil. So because of the putting some foil into that, it will measure some high stress and high strain. So for the high stress and high strain measurement, or the high force measurement, we will use a foil type strain gauge. So here the metal foil strain gauge uses the identical to the wire gauge strain gauge that is used for most of the general purpose of stress analysis and the application for many transducers, right? And another is a semiconductor strain gauge. The semiconductor strain gauge, instead of the wire, we are using some semiconductor PN type semiconductor material in place of wire. So what happens whenever we are going to measure for the high stress or very high pressure or force applied into this one, so this property will change because of the resistance, because this semiconductor has a great property and their tendency is also very low to break. So that's why it uses a mostly germanium and silicon based material, and that is available for p-n type, and the p-type gauge have a positive gauge factor and the n-type has a negative gauge factor, right? So the main disadvantage of this gauge factor is that it is semiconductor material. So because of that, it is a very highly temperature dependent. So due to the temperature variations, his resistivity is also changes of the material. So it is temperature sensitive also.